What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. Excited to be here with you. You are in luck. Tonight is bath night, and bath night means that I have to get this done quickly so that way I can get up there to help. With that being said, let's not waste any time and let's get started. First, as we talk about holidays, let's just set one thing straight. Nobody is perfect on holidays, and being perfect on holidays is awful and boring. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't enjoy your holiday meals, whether that's, the big dinner with everybody, your delicious apps, the delicious desserts. And if someone tells you that you have to do those things in order to see progress, they're full of shit and you don't want to follow those people. And also, if they tell you that they are totally content with themselves and they're not enjoying those things, I feel bad for those people because we all love holidays and we all love everything that holidays bring, right? Think of all the memories that you have of your holidays. I'm sure there are some amazing memories you have. Maybe it's a specific recipe someone had. It should be a season that we enjoy, not one that we're worried about ruining our progress or being like, oh, great, another holiday season. I'm going to put all this weight on. You can still enjoy holidays and not put a bunch of weight on. And also, with that being said, something that I'd like to bring to your attention is, let's say that you're doing nothing to take care of your health, meaning you're not eating healthy, you're not exercising or doing any of that. The average weight gain that someone actually puts on in this time period is 0.8 to 1.5 pounds total. You're not going to put on 10 pounds this holiday season. Are there outliers? Yes, of course, right? There's always outliers. But let's also recognize, like, if that's the average, we're really not offsetting a ton during this time period. And it really does come down to, are you enjoying the holiday or are you taking, that one holiday and stretching the holiday out where you're celebrating it for a month? If you celebrate the holiday for a month, all right, then we've got to, set some limits to this. But if we're just enjoying like those specific occasions, whether it was enjoying Thanksgiving and now enjoying Christmas or Hanukkah or the one, Christmas party, you're going to be okay. We have to get out of this survival mindset and actually enjoy and look forward to this season and eliminate all of that stress. And so really what we're going to do here is I'm just going to give you some tips to help you do just that this upcoming holiday season that we're entering here. First, let's start with, the holiday parties that you're going to be going to and all the different gatherings that are part of that, and that's what makes this harder. It's not always just that one holiday. It's all the other things that come along with that. The best thing that you can do is stick to your intentions when going to the holiday parties. And that doesn't have to mean that you are restricting yourself and saying no to everything. You can enjoy some alcohol, some desserts. You can have a plate of food and a plate of apps, but just make this decision in advance and stick to that. If grandma's making her favorite famous pie, okay, I am going to have half a slice of pie and that's all I'm going to have. Awesome. Love it. Do it. I'm going to have some drinks because I love eggnog or I love having drinks with my in-laws, but I'm only going to have 2 glasses of wine tonight. Perfect. Enjoy those 2 glasses of wine. Set your intentions and stick to them and you will be okay the following day. And really, before I even dive into anything else, here's my number one rule that I give my clients, because really I refuse to let my clients not enjoy the holidays. I say, do whatever you need to do at that holiday so you are not mad at yourself the next day. For example, if you can wrap your head around not caring what you eat for the whole day and you're just going to have whatever, and you can wake up the next day and not be mad about it, great, do it. But if that is something that would upset you and set you in this downward spiral, okay, then we need to set some limitations for that day so then we can get back on the wagon the following day. That's my goal. I don't want you living with regrets or to get mad at yourself. You just need to make a decision, stick with it, and be happy with it as you move forward. All right, so now that I got that out of the way, let's talk about some things that we can focus on at holiday parties. First, it's the day of, all right? You know that there's a big dinner that you're going to that night. What can we do to prepare on that day? I see so many different things that people do. For example, some people like to starve themselves the entire day and save all of their calories for that meal at dinner. You could call this like an extreme form of intermittent fasting. And it's not that that's a bad thing to do because it will prevent you from going over in calories, but I just don't like the mentality of like, I need to starve myself so I can enjoy this meal. And then by the time you get to that meal, you're starving. And so you have way more than you probably would have had if you just enjoyed some food during the day, because you wouldn't be starving at that point. Or people doing extra cardio. I hate the mentality of like, I need to earn my meal. You don't need to earn any meal. If you're doing cardio the day of because it makes you feel better and you feel, less grouchy and you feel more light on your feet, by all means, like do the extra cardio, but don't do it to justify eating more calories at the end of the day. Yes, it absolutely would work. If I burn 200 calories, then technically I could eat 200 calories more to offset that. But I just don't like the downward spiral that mentality creates. So I say, if you're in an exercise routine, stick with your exercise routine. If that was a day that you were meant to exercise, great. Keep doing your exercise, but just don't overthink it. Some people also like to make the focus of the event on how amazing the food will be. Like that is the focal point. If that is the focal point for you, it might be harder for you to not overindulge in the food that you're eating. Try to focus on all of the different components of the party and things you're looking forward to, such as certain people that you're going to see there, and all the other parts that go into that day, rather than just on, that one meal that you cannot wait for. My suggestion would be to make the day as normal as possible so you're not starving by the time that you show up. I don't know about you, but when I don't eat a ton during the day and I show up somewhere and I see the apps, I just go absolutely to town on that food. And sometimes I eat so many apps where like I'm not even full by the time dinner comes around, but then I feel bad. So then I eat dinner too. And then I go home and I just feel sick to my stomach. I would suggest like eat smaller meals throughout the day. It's okay to have smaller meals, but make sure you're still eating. And then if you really want to make sure that you're not overindulging at the party, I would suggest you have something with protein in it right before you go. So then you're not as hungry and you can just approach that meal like any other. And if we approach that meal like any other, where, we're aware of our serving sizes of the foods that we're eating and we're not going into this starving, you're going to be surprised at, oh, this ends up being a normal meal for me. I'm going to have some of my protein, some of my veggies, some of my carbs, and I'm going to enjoy all those things because it's just another meal and I'm not starving. Whereas if we're starving, then we overconsume because our eyes are bigger than our stomach. So that kind of covers how I would approach, the day of. Let's also now dive into a little bit more with our intention with alcohol, right? It can be easy to let the drinks get flowing. You're having a blast with your family, your friends, you're having a good time. What's one more drink? And then what's one more drink after that? I would recommend choose an amount that you're comfortable with having and then stick to that. And if you're going to be there for a long time and you're like, well, I want to make sure like I can drink with everyone throughout the night. Okay, well, maybe you have like a glass of wine or a beer or a mixed drink when you get there. Oh, excuse me. I hope that doesn't show up on the podcast as like a loud noise. I apologize. But maybe you have one at the start and then you have one later on at the night. But it's totally your choice. But again, you pick and you stick with it. And I also ask you, when you start getting to like drink 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, like, did you really need those drinks at that point? Like, did you actually enjoy the drink, or was it more of you just getting caught up in the moment? I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong answer to that, but just something to think about. Whereas, I feel drinks taste different on the first one compared to the 7th or the 8th one. And so I would say, enjoy the ones that you plan on having, and then just call it quits at that point. You'll feel much better the next day. And, some other ways to help you space it out are in between each drink, maybe have a glass of water or have, some type of like club soda or just something to help you space it out. But so you still have something in your hand and you don't feel like there's, nothing there for you. All right, now let's start talking about, so you got to the party, there are a bunch of apps, there's food on the table. What can we do to make sure that we're not just sitting there and picking? I would say create some distance between yourself and the apps or the food table if it's going to be a problem for you. It's funny, we just had a party the other weekend and my son was sitting at the table and he just wanted everything. And I was sitting there, I was getting mad at him. Like, I was like, dude, stop eating. Like, you can't just sit and eat and eat and eat. And then I was thinking, I was like, holy cow, I don't blame him, right? There's a bunch of food in his face and he's like, sweet, I'm just going to keep eating because the food's here. And it's the same way for us. If the food's in front of us and we're sitting there, we're not even going to be thinking about it. And we're just going to keep grabbing for the food. So, walk away from that table and go stand somewhere else and have your conversations. So you're not just sitting there and mindlessly grabbing the food. because even if you don't want to eat it, if it's sitting there staring at you, you're going to grab it. We fortunately have a little more discipline than a 2-year-old at times, but sometimes we don't, depending on what that food is that's sitting there. Um, Along with apps, one thing that I like to bring up is bring an appetizer that you'd like to have. Or if it's bringing food for the meal, bring a piece of food that you want to have for the dinner. And not saying just enough for you, don't be that weird person, but bring enough for everyone. No one ever gets mad at there being too many veggies or too much fruit. Those are great appetizers to have, and they're easy to give people to bring home. So bring those with, so that way you have something to snack on. And truthfully, it's easy on you, right? Buy a nice veggie tray or a fruit platter and your work is done, instead of baking some crazy high calorie, cheesy dish that everyone will love as well, but that doesn't really potentially fall in line with what your goals are. And this way you can guarantee there's going to be something. So while everyone's having appetizers, you have something in front of you that you can have. Now, as we lead into the meal here, I suggest that you use one plate. And let's be clear, one normal sized plate, all right? Not some monster overflowing plate with this huge mound of food. Fill up the plate with everything that you enjoy. Enjoy the meal, but once you're done with that one plate, that's it, and you call it a night. Same thing with your appetizers. Go enjoy all the appetizers that you want, but they have to fit on a plate. I would suggest taking a smaller plate, not a dinner-sized plate. And then once you finish that plate, great, you enjoyed it, and you're all done until it's time for dinner. But again, the whole food part, don't let that be the focus. Focus your intentions on being excited for those interactions you're going to have with everyone else at the party. And that's going to change your approach to the gathering. And I really think it's going to help you enjoy that. And it's going to, make food less of an obsessive thing for you when you are there. So that hopefully that gives you a better idea as to how to approach the food part. Now, one thing I want to bring up though is how to handle your emotions at these social gatherings. You're focused on your health. You're working on weight loss. You're watching what you're eating. I can guarantee there's a really good chance that you're going to get comments about that healthy plate that you made, or your choice to not overindulge, especially, in things like alcohol, or if you're having the veggies with your appetizers instead of some of the other fried food sitting out. Let's set one thing straight. This is a reflection of them and not you. And I'm not saying they're bad people, but they're judging you because they feel bad for their decisions. They're not. It frustrates me that eating healthy has become a weird thing in our society. Like, how dare you take care of your health? And you got to be prepared for this, right? Like, so first, a reflection of them, not you with what you're eating. You're not doing anything wrong by being, focused on what you're putting into your body. Second, be prepared for how they're going to reply. How you're going to reply to them. I got distracted there because my wife asked me if I am going to be ready for bedtime. So I need to talk a little faster. But anyways, I want you to think about how you're going to reply to somebody in this situation, and how you're going to handle it. Are you going to laugh it off and say, haha, yeah, like here I am, lame, eating the veggies? Are you going to get confrontational and say, hey, beep, 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 beep? Is it going to ruin your night? And is it going to lead to you maybe going down a downward spiral? Then you start having things you don't want because you feel bad. I want you to have an idea of how you're going to approach this so you don't get caught off guard. I deal with this all the time, especially as the guy who's the trainer in the room, right? Like, oh, look at the trainer eating healthy. Or if I have a cookie, it's like, oh, I didn't realize you eat cookies. It's like, yeah, dude, I like cookies too. I personally suggest laughing it off and just knowing it's not a reflection of you. When people make comments towards me, I just laugh and I'm just like, yep, got to eat my veggies. And it is what it is, right? I don't react to it. I just laugh and I just know it's not a reflection of me. And I think that's the best thing that you can do. There are other emotions that are going to come with these gatherings, over holidays as well. Sometimes there might be some family that we don't want to see. There will be some that we do. And, there might be some people who are no longer with us that we miss. And all of these emotions are fine. And, they're all part of holidays. Let's just be aware of these emotions and what they might do to you and how they might influence you, so we don't make any spur of the moment choices due to how we're feeling, whether that be with alcohol consumption or reaching for those comfort foods. Let's acknowledge those emotions as we experience it. But then let's bring ourselves back to a focus on what our goals are. Again, remember, holidays should be enjoyed. These are all just tips. If you end up having a night where you don't even remember any of these tips and it just is one night, I'll tell you real quickly, one of my clients who I was just working with through Thanksgiving had more than they wanted at Thanksgiving, and the scale the next week was up. And they were frustrated by it. They're like, oh, great, the scale's up. And it's like, hey, let's think about this. You had things that were high in sodium. You had a little more food than you're used to, but the scale will re-normalize. And by the end of the week, their weight was right back to where they were before Thanksgiving. That one day, that one party is not going to ruin you. I promise. So keep that in mind. I hope one of these tips can benefit you to help you handle these holiday get-togethers and gatherings, and maybe, something that you can incorporate to help you better handle those situations. And, if you're someone who wants help with all this in detail, like, your specific situation, and you're someone looking to lose at least 10 pounds and get toned, then this next part is something that I want you to hear. This is the season of caring, right? And it's a big focus of mine this year. If you're listening to this podcast in December of 2022, my focus this month is on helping others. And I challenge you right now not to wait until after the holiday season to start working on your weight loss goal. Don't just go through another season of being unhappy with your progress and marking, December as a wash. I mean, like, I'll start in January. There's just too much going on this month. To make this easier on you, because I understand it can feel daunting to attack one of these things in December, if you decide that you're going to start your weight loss journey now, rather than waiting until January, I will give you the month of December for free. So that's right. If you sign up for the 12-week Fit Parent Protocol, you're going to get the 12 weeks plus this month of December included for free. I will help coach you through all the holidays this season, and you don't have to worry about messing up or not following your plan perfectly and not getting results. Know that I've got your back. And if this interests you, just send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook with the words December, so I know you listen to this, and we can chat about your goals to see if or how I can help you. Other than that, though, it is time for me to wrap this up and to go handle some bath time. So thank you for listening. Have a great holiday season.